Welcome to FBB Forum. My name is David, and thank you for tuning in. If you like this content, please be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to the FBB Forum YouTube and Instagram pages. I'm very pleased to welcome the stunning new IFBB Pro women's bodybuilding competitor, Jennifer Rudolf, to the podcast. Jennifer just recently won the Masters 35 and over as the overall winner at the NPC North Americans in Pittsburgh. Jennifer presented an amazing package on stage and really looks incredible. And she's a mom of 5 kids, which is really amazing too. Stay tuned to find out where she'll compete next and where she'll make her pro debut. Welcome, Jennifer. It's great to have you here.
Hi, thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
Thank you. Really appreciate your time. And yeah, I bet you were thrilled to get your pro card. That was exciting. I bet.
I was very excited. Very excited.
Very cool. Now, did you have an athletic or a sports background before you started competing in bodybuilding?
Not so much. I mean, when I was in high school and stuff, I played soccer. And then, through my 20s, I didn't really do a whole lot. I competed in powerlifting though, from the ages of about 32 or so until recently. So about 8 years or so I spent competing in powerlifting. So I built a real solid foundation with my muscle and everything through that.
And how old are you now, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm going to be 44 next week.
44? Wow,
Yep.
terrific.
Yep.
Yeah, awesome. Very cool. You had mentioned too, you had done some natural bodybuilding back in the day.
Yes. So that's when I originally started, was back in 2012. I competed for about 3 years in the Natural Federations, INBF. And, I was very inexperienced. I didn't really have very good coaching, and that kind of burnt me out from bodybuilding back then. So I thought I would hang up my heels and be done forever, which I partially did because now I don't compete in heels. But I did decide to return to the stage in 2023.
That's terrific. And in terms of the powerlifting, how long did you do powerlifting?
About 8 years or so.
Is that something you want to continue with, or just do bodybuilding full
Yeah,
time?
I think I'm good with it. I think I'm good with the powerlifting. My body got beat up through that.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, I
But
know there's a few that do both, but it's tough to do both, I think.
I think so for sure. Yeah.
Now, I was curious how'd you get started in bodybuilding? Who convinced you to do that first contest? Like even looking back at the natural contests that you did.
Yeah, so back in the day when I did that, that was about 2012. There wasn't really Instagram. There was some Facebook, but there wasn't a whole lot like that I was seeing through social media. So I used to read Oxygen magazines. I'm
Yeah,
not,
I remember
I was a
that.
magazine person. So
Uh-huh.
I would read Oxygen magazines from front to back. I would read like Hers Muscle and Fitness front to back. I would have all the subscriptions. So that was when like Aaron Stern was competing and all of that. So just seeing that those kind of people as like the fitness models in those magazines was always like, oh my gosh, I want to look like that. I want to look like that. And I do the workout routines that were in the magazines and things like that. I didn't really understand like how to get into bodybuilding or what it took. And then in 2012, I think I came across someone else who did figure. And I was like, oh wow, there's actually like competitions in this area. And I went to one and I was like, wow, like I could totally do that. So then I found a coach, and I kind of got into the community doing that and stuck with it for about 3 years.
Wow, that's so cool. That's awesome. You
Yeah.
talked about you live in Sarasota,
I live in Sarasota now. Yep.
and there's a contest coming up this weekend, I think, down there at the
Yes,
Opera
there is.
House, I think.
Yep. The Tournament of Champions. Yep.
Oh yeah. Are you going to be involved in that, or even as expediter or something?
Yeah, I'm actually working there, so I'll be helping out expediting and doing like the trophies and stuff.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
I
very.
know live in Tampa. I would go to that show if I didn't have something already going on that weekend. Going to see my daughter and the UCF football game that weekend. So
Yeah, it's a
um,
great show. Beautiful, beautiful venue. It's very well run. Holly Beck is a promoter of that. It's always just been, I've been to it probably 3 or 4 years in a row now, just as a spectator. It's a beautiful show. I have a lot of teammates doing it, and we have prep clients doing it. So I'll be there all day, involved in all of the things, but I'm very excited about it.
that's terrific. That's going to be really cool, I bet. Yeah. I wish it'd be nice if they added women's physique and women's bodybuilding though, because that's my favorite division. So
Yeah, they just added the pro division. This is the first year adding the pro division. They have pro bikini, pro figure for women, and then I think there's two different divisions for men.
oh yeah, I saw the pro figure, which is great. Yeah, I know. Yeah, no, so that's good. Maybe they will add over time too. So
Yeah.
yeah. Um, you mentioned some of the ladies you liked in Oxygen, but is there any particular role model in fitness, even like these days, that you like the best or that you look up to?
Not really. I mean, I follow a lot of great athletes on Instagram, but there's not one in particular. I went to the Tampa Pro a couple weeks ago, and I was just like in awe of all of them and all of their physiques and their routines and everything. And I took some tips from like Michaela Aycock, like the way she poses and things. She has a similar body structure to me, so I was like, oh, maybe I should try and do some of the angling of the hips the way she does and things like that. But so yeah, just following along with like the current pros right now is pretty cool.
I was at that show too. It's always an amazing show. It's
Yeah,
definitely cool to have one of the best shows in your backyard like that,
yeah, very cool.
It is, yeah. I like it when the ladies come down the stairway out there in the lobby. It's just like this dramatic, intro.
Yeah. Yeah, they're also friendly too, and like giving you advice, and it's very nice. It was a really cool show to watch.
Yeah, she didn't compete there, but even Sherry Priame was there in the audience, and she
Mhm.
looked fantastic though because she did Rising Phoenix not long after that. So
Yeah.
um, now I was curious, was it tough for you to get up on stage in a bikini for your first show, or is it nerve-wracking, or do you get nervous now, I should say,
Not really. I mean, back in 2012, I'm sure I felt nervous. I think I was probably more nervous about walking in the heels, to be honest, because I don't ever wear heels. I don't, so I think I remember that being one of my challenges was the heels and the posing back then.
Yeah.
But now I'm fine. I'm confident. I don't even get the jitters behind, before going out. So I feel like I'm pretty seasoned in it. So I just know what to do. I practice my posing a lot, and I'm pretty confident when I go out there.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to ditch those heels too. I bet that's kind of
Oh,
nice.
I could never go back to them.
It seems really uncomfortable, but also, yeah, you have the risk of falling too. It's just like
Yeah.
not much fun. And those big heels too. It's like, geez.
Yeah, definitely
Yeah.
like stumbling and stuff. I would not do well.
Oh, oh man. Now, what was your experience like at North Americans? And again, congrats on your pro card, but did you enjoy the show? And
Thank you.
what was your experience like?
It was great. It was really, really good. I did the same show last year. I had a good experience then too, but I mean, this show is just it's very, very well run. It's very well organized. The expediters are super friendly. They keep you calm and laughing, while you're waiting to go out. It was a really fun time. They had a photographer back there getting like candid photos and stuff. It was a great time. The women that I was competing with, where everyone was so friendly. So very good experience overall.
How was there enough space backstage? Sometimes it can be cramped
Yeah.
backstage.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's plenty of space. Yep. Yep.
great.
And they had mirrors set up and everything, so you had plenty of room to spread out.
Terrific. Um, was there kind of like a strong iron sisterhood back there? And did you have good expediters and tan and makeup and everything?
Oh yeah, they were on top of everything, on top of it. So everything was well organized when you were going out. They were telling you, when to go get your bronzer on and get in line, and everyone follow me, and they were checking your numbers, making sure you're in the right spot, making sure you knew exactly what was happening and like where to go once you got off the stage. They explained everything, so you just followed the directions and you were good.
Nice. That's
Yeah,
great. Yeah. I know that's a Gary Udit show, and I know he seems to be one of the better promoters. He seems to be just really, and he's really experienced with it too. I think that really helps
yeah,
too.
very very well run. I was 10 out of 10 recommend doing that show. It's great.
Terrific. That's great. I'm glad you had a good experience there. Um, now, we talked a little bit about before recording, but when and where you might want to do your pro debut, and and if you're not sure, like what would be like your ideal spot for your pro debut?
Yeah, I mean, haven't really given it too much thought, but I would say probably the Tampa Pro since it's, in my backyard in 45 minutes away.
Yeah.
And that seems like a really well-run show as well. So I would feel like that would probably be my pro debut. Probably not 2025, probably the year after, probably 2026. I think I'd be ready to do that. Take a nice long off season, get some size on me and everything before
That's
making that
terrific.
debut.
So you come back and wow the judges, and that'd be great.
Yeah. The pro
Um,
league is a whole different ball game, so I know I've got some work to do.
no, I think taking a year off is a good idea and give you time to kind of recover too, but also get put on more size.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. If you don't mind me asking, how tall are you?
5'7".
5'7". Oh, so you're pretty tall for a bodybuilder for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, do you think? I guess that makes it a little tougher too, though, because it takes more to fill out your frame, I imagine, too.
Yeah, I mean, I tend to put on muscle pretty easily, so I don't really have that much of a problem. And I'm a heavyweight, so when I put on size, I'm pretty symmetrical. It's usually evenly distributed. I do have my certain areas I need to work a little bit harder on, but for the most part, I don't have a hard time putting on muscle or gaining size.
That's good. Very good. I know seems like maybe the ladies average about 5'4", and sometimes it's with them being a little bit shorter, they can pack on more muscle. So I know it can be a little bit tougher for the taller ladies. So um, in terms of doing women's bodybuilding and women's physique, do you have like a preference for one or the other, or where you'd like to prefer to make your pro debut?
I thought my heart was in women's physique at first. That's what I started in, and I do really like the posing in there and everything. But every time I've done what, 4 shows or so now, and I've always done both categories because I'm like, I'm not really sure where I fall. And the past 3 shows I did this year, I was scoring way better in bodybuilding than I was in women's physique.
Hmm.
Um, and now my posing is a lot stronger in bodybuilding and everything. And the feedback I got is just that my body structure is better for women's bodybuilding, and I'm totally fine with that. I really do enjoy the women's bodybuilding, and so now it's just time to improve on my size and my posing and everything, and just have one focus rather than trying to balance out both of them.
Sure, sure. I understand. Did you ever compete in either of those at Tampa show?
What's that in Tampa?
Yeah, as an amateur.
No, I did both women's power. Sorry, I did women's physique in at the USA's this past year,
Hmm.
and I did a show down in Punta Gorda at Mel Chancey's Harbor Classic last weekend.
Oh yeah.
So that I threw in that amateur show right before North Americans just to like practice and get a little more confident and see what the judges' feedback was, so I could polish up anything I needed to before going to North Americans.
Okay.
Um, and I ended up taking 2 overalls at that amateur show too. So that was just last
Wow.
weekend. Um, and their feedback was like, they're like, you could do both divisions. You just have to change your posing, and accentuate your, make yourself look smaller, basically in women's physique because me and my arms are
Oh,
big. So that's what I tried to do at North Americans, but I didn't get scored very well in North Americans. I placed third, fourth, and fifth in the 3 classes there, but I placed first, and second in women's bodybuilding.
oh, I see. So yeah, so the judge is kind of steering you toward the women's bodybuilding.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
that's terrific. Yeah, we need more women in women's bodybuilding too. So I support that. You got to stick with that.
Yep.
I was curious if the judges have given you any feedback on where you need to improve your physique or presentation.
The feedback I got from the head judge Sandy was that I just need a little bit more depth in my back, which I agree with. Last year they wanted me to get more width, which I did work on that because as a power lifter I wasn't isolating like my lower lats and everything. So I did get that fullness and that width this year, but now I just need to work on the depth. So
Sure, I understand. That makes sense. Yeah, that's great. No, it's good to get that advice too, and to get from somebody like Sandy. I mean, she's kind of a legend in the sport too, so
yeah,
that's great. Yeah.
definitely.
Terrific. That's very cool. I was curious if is there any advice that you can provide to ladies who are looking to earn their pro card? I know it takes a lot of hard work and dedication, and you mentioned in a post, I think it was today, about not being worried about losing. You just have to accept it, and
Yeah.
eventually things will work out too. So
Exactly. I mean, you always want to go in with that mindset that you're going to win, because you don't want to go in with the mindset of, second place is okay, third place is okay. You want to go in with that winner's mindset, but you have to take into consideration that when you do lose, take that as a learning opportunity, gain from that, take that experience and improve on what you're doing, and just, it forces you to become more resilient, and, put a little bit more into it, and like kind of transform into that person that you really want to be, and just keep manifesting in it. Just keep manifesting it. That's what I just kept doing, was like, I'm gonna get that pro card, whether it's at this show or the next one. It's gonna be there, So, and just like having just that positive mindset that you just gotta work for it. And
that's really good.
the losses just make that win so much better. Because when you
Yeah,
step off the stage and you're like, shit, man, I was like one spot away. I was one spot away 2 times, 3 times.
yeah,
And then when you finally get it, it's like, finally, I did it.
I agree. I think that's good advice too, and but I think that coming in with that confidence makes a big difference because bodybuilding is such a mental sport too.
Oh yes, the mental fortitude, you have to have it. You have to have. You cannot have a weak mind with it, because it is. I would say it's 80% mental, especially
Mhm.
towards the end, when you want to start
Yeah,
doubting yourself and you're like questioning, why am I doing this, and comparing yourself to others. Like, you really just have to put the blinders on and have a really strong mindset.
yeah, dude. I know some bodybuilders who just kind of tune out of Instagram for a
Hmm.
while before a show because otherwise they're comparing themselves too much and getting too much in their head, so
Yep.
that I think that's pretty good advice too.
I mean, even before going out on stage, I wasn't even seeing who was in my class. Like my coach was like, "Oh, that one next to you, and this one, and this one." I was like, I wasn't paying any attention. Honestly,
Really?
I didn't
Huh.
want to even think about it. I was focused on what I needed to do when I got out on the stage. I didn't want to think about who was out there with me. I was blinders on. I'm going out there. I'm doing
Okay.
my thing the best I can. So
That's good. I think that's a good idea to do that and stay focused on yourself
yeah,
and yeah, stay focused on the win, you know.
for sure.
Now, do you have a prep coach?
I do. Yep. Yep. So Matt Blowen, he's Team Warrior Aesthetics. I'm actually a coach on his team, but he coaches me.
Yeah, I saw that the Team Warriors and that's like a team within in Sarasota, is that right?
Yeah, we're locally based in Sarasota. We have a huge team in Sarasota. So we do a lot of the local shows with the amateurs and things. We do a lot of like team events, team workouts. But we're really tight knit. We do online coaching as well. So we have competitors all over the place, but within our local community, we're pretty big.
Really? That's great. That's terrific. Yeah. Um, is there a particular gym down there in Sarasota that you prefer? And you mentioned you're in Lakewood Ranch, which is up kind of near Manatee, Sarasota County.
Yeah, I mean, I personally train out of Crunch, but like I do one-on-one training, and so does Matt out of a place called Patriot down in Sarasota. And
Hmm.
then we do team workouts at various gyms like Muscle Asylum. We've been to MI40, things like that. Asgard, we'll take our whole team there and do like a whole team workout one day, like every couple of months.
Wow, that's really cool. Do you
Yeah.
guys do you work with lifestyle clients too? Or
Yes. Yeah.
oh you do? Oh wow. And you have room for more clients as well?
I do. Yep. And I
Oh you
typically
do?
specialize with women over 40 is kind of like my niche,
Oh yeah.
as far as
Okay.
lifestyle goes. And, competitors, all kinds of competitors, men, women, bikini, figure, whatever.
That's awesome. Very cool.
Yep.
And do you have a posing coach too?
I do, yes. One of the best, I would say. Kenny Wallish. So I've been working with him since last year, and he's just amazing. I've been working with him online. And then when at the big shows, at the national shows, he's usually there. So he was at North Americans with me backstage, adjusting my posing in between. And I could see him in the audience, like giving me all the cues and the signs to fix where I needed to like angle my hips and what I needed to fix and everything. But
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
he's amazing. And he coaches, he's been doing it for I think 9 years. He's got turned like 500 something people pro with his
Yeah.
posing.
Oh, I know. He's kind of a posing legend, I think. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
definitely very, yeah, he's
I
helped
would
a
say
lot
he's
of,
the best. Yeah, he's great. 100%. I would recommend anybody go to him.
that's terrific. It's good you got to see him at North Americans too.
Yes.
Where does he live? I don't even know where he lives.
He goes between. He lives somewhere in Florida part time, and then I want to say Connecticut is his other. He lives up north on the East Coast somewhere. I think it's Connecticut.
I know I saw him at the Tampa show. I know he was there. So
Yep.
yeah, he had a lot of athletes that were competing there, I bet. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great that you worked with him. Um, and I was curious, what would you say is the most challenging aspect of prep for you?
Being a mom.
Oh yeah, I bet.
Being
Yeah.
a mom for sure. Yeah. But like not just being the mom part, it's the having the energy to stay active with them and want to take them places and do things with them and just the day-to-day stuff, because prep will suck out all of your energy. So it's definitely I would say that's the most challenging part. And then obviously the diet's not that easy, but I would say the lack of energy as far as like trying to fulfill my role as a wife and a mom is really challenging.
I totally understand that. Yeah. Could you say how old your kids are?
I have twins that are 6. I have an 8-year-old, a 15-year-old, and a 16-year-old.
Wow. Yeah, but at least you do have the older ones to help with the younger ones too, which is
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My timing for prep just hasn't been that great. In the summertime, I'm home with them. So it's not like they're at school and I can just take a nap. It's like I feel like I just got to entertain them and things like that. So it's been a
Yeah.
little tough having them home during the summer when I'm like in the depths of prep.
Oh, totally understand that. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Um, that'd be tough to like travel with them to like take them up to Vegas for Olympia or something because you have that's
Yeah.
like five other plane tickets you got to buy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So they don't go to my national shows. They watch the live stream, which they think is really cool. So they can see me like on the TV.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. At least the Florida shows too would be easy to get them to come to too. So
Yeah, exactly.
we have a lot of shows in Florida. So um, I was curious, what would you say is your favorite body part in your physique and your least favorite?
I would say like my signature trademark, so to say, is the way like my glutes get really striated and very
Okay.
conditioned. So that's something that happens, pretty quickly, and it's always like it's a wow factor because not very many
Yeah.
competitors can get that like leanness and striations in their glutes. So that's always been great. And I have good size quads and legs and stuff like that. So I'd say like my lower body's more favorable than my upper body. I've got a little
Sure.
bit of work to do to, get that same definition in my upper back and stuff.
Yeah, you mentioned Michaela Aycock earlier, and she's got kind of legendary glutes going on, the striated glutes.
Exactly. I've had a few people mention to me that I remind them of her just because that you don't see it very often.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it is. It's really impressive too to see. So that is really cool. That'll help you stand out too in your pro debut, I bet.
Yes, yes, for sure.
That's very cool. Um, and in terms of your upper body, so you just have to work that more. But with it the year off, you have time to work, and put on size, I bet, and stuff. So
Yeah. So I'd say that's probably where I'll focus a little bit more this off season is my upper body, specifically my back.
sure, sure. Very cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I was curious if you could give advice, since you're a coach, but also you're being coached, like advice to ladies who are looking for a good coach. Like what should they look for? What pitfalls, should to avoid, that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, there's a lot to that, definitely. So you definitely want to have a coach that's going to be very responsive and who's going to take you as an individual and create a plan that's made for you instead of giving you like this is a plan we do this at 6 weeks out, we do this at 4 weeks out, 8 weeks out, instead of giving you like a templated like these are the typical protocols, because it really is, it's not a one size fits all. Every competitor is going to be different, everyone's going to respond differently to the diet, the training. Some competitors are going to need more rest and recovery than others. They're not going to be able to push 6 days a week and have high volume and, hours and hours of cardio. Some are going to do a lot better when you bring that fatigue down and let them rest more. Like they'll see better changes in their physique. So you really want someone who's paying attention to the details of things and making sure that like they're focusing on you and not just like, oh, this is what we typically do type of thing.
Mm,
And you also want to make sure that they're responsive. You don't want to send an email or a text and not hear from them for a week. Like,
yeah.
when I work with Matt, I'll shoot him a text. He's responsive within 2 hours,
Yeah.
Me as
Yeah.
a coach, I have like a 6 to 8 hour rule, except, like I'll put some boundaries on it. Like if it's a Sunday, you might not hear from me, until Monday. But for
Okay.
the most part, you want to make sure that they're responsive and they're going to answer your questions and that they're okay with you asking questions because, I always want my athletes to learn and understand why they're doing what they're doing and
Hmm.
understand the protocols and why I'm telling them to do these things rather than just following the plan and not really grasping the concept of it.
Sure. I think that's really good advice. Yeah, you don't want them ghosting you. I think that's a good point. That ghosting you, that's probably a bad sign right there that they're
Yes, exactly. I mean, obviously, you want a coach that's going to be that has your health as a priority too, not just how you're going to place on the stage. They want to make sure that you're in good health during this whole process because it does get to the very extremes and it does get unhealthy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you want to make sure that, that they know you're in it for the long haul or,
Hmm.
and health wise, even when you retire from you don't want to have long-term problems.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's good advice. Now in terms of your coaching, do you have any other job beyond that, or is that pretty much your full-time job, is the coaching?
Yep. Coaching is my full time job. Yep.
Terrific. That's great. Yeah. I was curious, but prior to that, did you ever have like a specific career or anything like that, or?
I owned a gym back in 2015 through 2020. My husband and I owned a gym, so we did that for a bit before I went online with my coaching.
Okay.
Prior to that, I was actually a pre-K teacher, so
Really?
I little kids. Yeah,
Oh, wow. That's so cool. That's awesome. Wow. I bet that would be kind of I mean, that'll keep you busy with your steps
yeah,
and cardio.
yeah. Quite different now. I mean, I've got plenty of my own children. I don't need to take care of anybody else's. But that was like what I did from high school up until my husband and I opened that gym.
Really? Oh, that's so cool though. Yeah. And little kids are so cute too.
Yeah,
That's
I
kind of
mean, I
fun.
love kids, but I've got enough of my own now.
Oh, I understand that. Yeah. That's cool. That's really cool though. In terms of the prep clients, competition prep and lifestyle clients, I was curious if you have a preference for one or the other, and also have you had a lifestyle client that's gone on to compete or had a few of them?
Yeah, I have a few right now that are transitioning, and they're actually older ladies too. They're in their 50s. I don't want to say older, but they're in their 50s. So they'll be masters competitors. So I've had them as lifestyle claims for a while. And now they're like, I want to do a bikini competition. So we are in that process of transitioning them into build phases so that they can compete soon. But I wouldn't say I necessarily have a preference. They're both very rewarding, especially, I mean, there's different things that are rewarding about both of them. Lifestyle, it's interesting and very rewarding when they go from not having any idea of how to take care of themselves and like just to be healthy to now that they're like a pro at it, you know, they can track their macros, get their steps, they know how to take care of themselves and implement a healthy lifestyle. So for me, I love that part about the lifestyle. And then competition's obviously just very rewarding and cool to see someone go from point A all the way to the stage.
That's awesome. Yeah. I love the before and after pictures with the women, when they go from the very beginning to like, being a pro or being on the Olympia stage and
Yeah.
seeing that that's a lot of hard work in between.
A lot of hard work, a lot of mental work, lots of peaks and valleys. There's definitely the high spots and the low spots of it, but it's very rewarding to be part of that.
Yeah, that's great. That's terrific that you do that too. I bet that is really rewarding. Um, I think it's tough too because life always kind of gets in the way too. So sometimes preps get, you know, postponed or, they get paused, because of just difficulties with injuries or just something bad in life happens. So
Yeah, for
you have
sure.
to roll with those punches, for sure.
Yeah, and just keep that positive mindset too, and not let them, go get in the dumps and get completely off track. It's part of, things are just not always going to go the way you want them to sometimes.
Yeah, that's true. I do think that as you as a coach, I'm sure you see you kind of help with the mental aspect too, I would imagine. It's almost
Yeah,
like you're like a amateur therapist too, I would think.
yeah, for sure. There's lots of mindset coaching that's involved.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
Um, now are your parents still alive?
My father's here. Yep. Yep. He went to my last competition, the amateur show that I did. That was his first time seeing me on the stage, and he thought that was pretty amazing. He didn't
Really?
really understand it. He just knew I was dieting and exercising, but he didn't really understand like what it was all about. So taking him to a show was pretty cool.
Oh, that's great. So he's supportive.
Yeah, yeah.
Was it weird for him to see his daughter up on stage in a bikini though?
I think he was pretty proud. I mean,
That's
yeah,
awesome. That's so cool. No, I'm glad to hear that because sometimes parents aren't always supportive, and I know
yeah,
it's a little heartbreaking, I think, for some of the competitors when their parents aren't,
right,
supporting. So,
right.
and in terms of your kids, did they support your bodybuilding career, or how do they
Oh
feel
yeah,
about it?
yeah. So like I said, my littler ones they haven't been able to go because I travel for the national shows. So I did that local show a couple weeks ago, the amateur show, and a part of the reason I did it was I wanted them to be able to see me.
Oh, cool.
They've been patient through the dieting. They see me crabby and tired and like, making all these meals and stuff. And like, I wanted them to see exactly what it was all about, what the process was about. So they were able to come see me and they saw me get 2 overalls and they were very excited. And they watched the live stream the other day when I was at North Americans and my husband had it like recorded so I could hear them cheering and everything. So it was very exciting. But they love it. Yeah. They totally get it too. They're like, okay, so when you're done with all this bodybuilding, then we can go out and have pancakes. I'm like, yes, then we can go have pancakes.
That's terrific. That's so cool. Yeah. I bet maybe so do they know that you're taking this upcoming year off? They're probably excited about that. They're like, yeah, mom can eat regular food.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. We can do more fun things now and go out for breakfast and do all this stuff.
I've talked to a few ladies about this, but I always thought it would be cool to do like a docu-series called Muscle Mamas on Netflix, but just
Yeah.
kind of follow like women like you that have kids and how you juggle everything, because I imagine I just think it would be tough, especially with 5 kids to juggle and but also maintain that bodybuilding lifestyle would be
Yeah,
really challenging. But I
exactly.
admire you for doing it.
Yeah. But yeah, they totally understand and they know when I have to pack up my meals and they have to wait in the car while I'm eating my meal before we go somewhere. Like they get it. That's just part of the lifestyle. So it doesn't seem any different to them.
Is that I was thinking you have the 16-year-old, so now you're gonna have one that's gonna be able to drive pretty soon. So that's
Yeah,
kind of
she was able to drive them around the summer, which was nice. So that
nice.
gives me a little bit of a break.
That makes a difference. That's kind of nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very cool. That's awesome. Um, and is your husband, is he a bodybuilder too?
He is not, but he's very supportive of it.
Oh, very cool. That's cool. What,
Yeah.
if you don't mind me asking, what does he do for a living?
he is into cars, so he does like race car coaching. He coaches race car drivers, so he has an interesting career himself.
Really? Oh,
Yeah,
wow. Wow, that's really cool.
yeah.
How long has he done that?
He's been doing that for probably about 4 years now total. But
Wow,
he did a little bit, he started doing the driving and stuff like as a hobby, back in the day. But he's actually been doing it for work for a couple of years.
wow, that's awesome. That's really cool. Yeah, that'd
Yeah,
be
we're
fun.
pretty unique. We're not like your average family.
Oh no, that's neat though. And
Yeah,
neither one of you are like kind of working for the man. You're kind of paving your
exactly.
own path and everything, which is cool. That's neat.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's very cool. I think that is somewhat common, I think, in the bodybuilder that there's a lot of entrepreneurs, I think, in bodybuilding in community, which is neat.
yeah. I'm not sure how you could manage the lifestyle having a 9 to 5 job. I know people do it. I give them all the credit in the world for doing it, but I don't know how they do it.
I
Because
know.
I really do appreciate the flexibility in my schedule to be able to go to the gym in the middle of the day when it's like my prime time, be able to schedule my meals at the right times. And, if I need to take a nap or something, so I've just kind of gotten accustomed to that's how I work things. And if I had a 9 to 5 job, I know it'd be very challenging. I worked a regular job. I was teaching actually when I first started bodybuilding. I remember that being exhausting.
Yeah, I bet it would be really tough. It's better to have the flexibility for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you mentioned you work with online clients, but you work with in-person clients as well.
Yep. Most of my clients are online, but I do some like in-person training.
That's awesome. Very
Yep.
cool. Um, I was curious. I just have a few more questions for you to wrap it up. But do you ever find yourself to be like the target of fit shaming? Like because I'm amazed that y'all have to deal with that kind of BS. But y'all should be praised for your hard work and sacrifice. But I'm just curious if you have to deal with that when you're in Sarasota or Tampa.
Not really, not so much in person. I feel like there's definitely people who feel intimidated by me that, they just don't interact with me or whatever. But like, I don't feel like I'm ever being shamed for it. It's mostly on the internet. That's where you get the trolls.
Yeah. Hmm.
But like not so much in person. For the most part, people are pretty like, they're very genuine and like, oh, I'm so impressed with your physique and like complimenting and things like that. So, but I haven't really dealt with anything too negative.
Oh, that's terrific though. That's good that you haven't had too much of that. Yeah. Now that you turn pro though, you're maybe some of those internet trolls will come out. So I hope not, but you
Yeah.
might
Oh,
have
they're
to deal
all
with it.
over all of a sudden. Yeah. I'm getting them all over Instagram and I get thick skin. It's fine.
Are you seeing more traffic now that in terms of people reaching out and everything now that
Yeah. It's over the past couple of months, the last few months of my prep, my Instagram has gotten very busy.
really?
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my next question. Do you ever find it hard to deal with those demands of social media, like in terms of not just the DMs, but the comments on your posts and that kind of thing?
Yeah, sort of. I mean, had an online presence for years now, so it's just kind of part of my routine to like, come up with my content strategies for the week, and I kind of know what I'm gonna post, and then, but yeah, like sometimes the DMs are like after the show, I was like, I can't even open my Instagram for a couple of days. Like it was just overwhelming the amount of DMs I had, and I was like, I want to respond to these people because they're congratulating me and they're complimenting me, so I don't want to just leave them, but I need to like take some time to have the time to be like, okay, let me respond to a big chunk of them and then I'll come back and respond to the rest. So I actually did that at the airport when I was coming home because it was
Okay.
like it was very overwhelming. I was like, there's a lot of DMs I need to respond to.
I bet. Yeah.
Yeah,
Which can be a
all
blessing and
good
a curse.
stuff. All good stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That could be a blessing and a curse when you have to, because you can get really overwhelmed with that sometimes, I bet.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
um, I was curious, have you had to deal with many overzealous fans or just creepy fans and stuff like that?
I mean, there's a few, but if they're too creepy, I just block them because you
Yeah,
never know. If they're sending creepy comments or in my DMs or whatever, and I just block them. I don't want to deal with you. I don't know what you're all about, and I don't want you in my space.
that's a good idea. No, I think block and delete is definitely good. That's your friends, to
Hmm.
get rid of
Yep.
them. Um, now you're at an age where I bet you probably remember this, where bodybuilding used to be on TV on ESPN and NBC and even on Fox Sports. And so I'm thinking like if cornhole and hot dog eating contests can be featured prominently on ESPN, can we get bodybuilding back on TV too?
Yeah, I don't understand why not. I don't
Did you?
understand why not. I mean, they do the live streams now, and like, I feel like the community, people are interested in it. They just don't see it enough. So if it was something that they could see on TV, they would have a better understanding of it. you know?
I think so too. I do think that back in the day, a lot of people were introduced to bodybuilding through the being on TV,
Right.
and I do wish we could get it back on TV again, because I do think it would be good for the sport to get more attention, maybe more sponsors, more, just more of everything, to
Yeah,
get it
just
back
more
on TV
awareness
again.
of what's going on. Yeah, exactly.
I do think that would be helpful. I just don't know how to do that. I wish it would come back on. And there's so many more networks now. There's 500 ESPN channels, so why can't it be on one of those? And
Right.
you know, so yeah, I do wish we could get it back. Um, Let me see. I was thinking hot dog eating contest. That's probably the opposite of bodybuilding. The other
I know people are
section.
interested in watching that for some reason.
It's kind of gross to watch too. It's kind of like, yeah, it's not easy. Um, uh, so that's it for my questions. I was just wondering if there's anything that I missed that you'd like to address, or anybody you'd like to shout out.
No, I mean, I definitely love to shout out my everyone who supported me, my husband, my coach, my posing coach. Because one thing I've learned is you cannot do this by yourself. You have to have a supportive network of people helping you, because it would be impossible to do alone. It would be very hard, very stressful, very lonely, because it's a very isolating sport. Having the guidance from a coach, having teammates too, I feel like has been a real shift for me too. Just having, 20, 30 people supporting me and, on my team has been great. But obviously, I need my husband's support and his encouragement to fulfill this kind of lifestyle and get after my dreams. Because without that, I can't imagine that I'd be able to do it.
That's terrific. I've said that a lot. It really takes a village to get you up on stage, because there's just so much to it, and having that support makes a huge world of difference too, for sure.
Exactly. Yeah.
Uh, um, and I was curious, do you have any sponsors, or do you like to have sponsors at some point?
I don't have any yet, but I would love to have some in the future. Yes.
Oh, okay, very cool.
Yeah.
So if sponsors are interested, they could reach out to you.
Yes, absolutely.
Terrific. Yeah. Well, now that you've got your pro card, maybe they'll come calling and stuff. So that'd be kind of nice.
More opportunities for me. Yep.
Even I know a lot of the ladies start off with like a suit sponsor, to kind of defray the cost of just the very
Yeah.
expensive suits that you have to buy and stuff. So
Yeah. It's an expensive sport, so any kind of sponsorship would definitely be helpful.
that's terrific. Very cool. So just if you don't mind, would you mind doing a quick flex for me?
Sure. Single or double? Can you get double?
Yeah, that's great. It looks very good, Jennifer. Excellent biceps. Thank you.
Of course. Always up
And
for a flex.
oh, thank you. No, I appreciate that. Yeah. As I mentioned, that's kind of like what I use for the screenshot for the YouTube. So
Nice.
try to entice the fans to come check it out. Um, but thank you so much for your time. And I'll try to get this posted later, or relatively soon, and definitely tag you and stuff. But and I wish you the best in 2026, and hope you have a great 2025, and to grow and rest and recovery, um, have fun with your kids and all that good stuff. So
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
thank you, Jennifer.
All right. Thanks. Bye-bye.